Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Geoffrey Honneus, and I am the author of Half Moon Bay. This is an introduction to Part 2. The Lady Christine, the 86-foot steel-hull shrimp boat I had just purchased in Louisiana, was now at Intercoastal City Boatyard being prepared for its long passage to Jamaica and Maine. One of its two engines needed to be overhauled. I was having installed on board a radar system equal in size to that on board a large Coast Guard cutter or a destroyer. It had a range of 48 miles to the horizon and beyond. I also purchased a Loran navigational instrument. By crossing two electronic tower signals, one would locate their position at sea. Also being placed on board was a single sideband radio with a 6,000-mile range of communication. The top sides of the boat were being painted for appearance purposes. The Lady Christine, in a roundabout way, led me into the hills of Jamaica to a small village by the name of Mount Zion in St. Anne's Parish. The village is 1,500 feet high, overlooking the Caribbean Sea, and the little 3-room bungalow I was staying at was the nearest house to the sea with a spectacular view over the ocean. My fisherman friend Qualo had led me to his sister's home. Her name was Delcy, and her husband's name was Godway. There was no running water, no road, or electricity in this part of the village. I was given a small room with a bay window which overlooked the ocean. The room had no furniture. I laid on a wooden floor, praying all day and much of the night, and on the floor was where I slept. For 5 days I stayed in this room, never leaving except to go to the outhouse. Delcy, realizing I was a vegetarian, fed me fruits and vegetables at the door. On the 5th day, my fisherman friend Qualo came to visit. He wanted to speak with me privately, so Godway led me down a trail to meet him. It looked like a washed-out rain gully descending steeply toward the ocean. When I met Qualo, Godway went back to the house. We had a brief conversation, then Qualo left, walking downhill toward the sea. I then looked around and noticed the natural beauty of the area. So I too walked down the washed-out rain gully until I came to a trail that led off to my right. I followed that to a stream which I crossed into a field where the grass was up to my neck. In front of me was a tree, the largest in the field. It turned out to be a giant bamboo tree about 70 feet high. Its lower branches curved down to touch the grass. I pushed them aside and walked underneath. It was like being under a giant umbrella. There, beneath my feet, was a bed of soft, slender, dried brown leaves. I said to myself, tomorrow I'm going to come here and pray. It's so peaceful and quiet here. The next morning was the 6th day, and I arose at sunrise and set out for the bamboo tree, where I prayed to Sai Baba all day. Late in the afternoon, I experienced a miracle that changed my life. Now, my father had experienced a miracle in 1936 while in India, which I spoke about in the introduction to Half Moon Bay Part 1. Before arriving in India, however, on board ship in the Bay of Bengal, while approaching Calcutta, my father experienced the first miracle in his life. He told me that one night he was so saddened by the loss of his wife after 7 years of marriage that he walked to the stern of the ship and looked down to the ocean below. He watched the ship's propeller turn up white water against the black of the sea. He was thinking of jumping overboard and ending his life. Now, nobody likes to talk about the time in their life that they were so depressed that they were thinking of committing suicide. My dad told me this only once in his life when I was about the age of 18. Instead of looking down in a depression, my dad said he looked up to the night sky and it was all stars. He then cried out, "God, if there's a reason for me to live, show me now. He told me that a shooting star came from his right, and suddenly he was standing in a glow of white light. And I said, "What happened, Dad?" "Nothing," he said. The light disappeared and my mind was blank. I had no more sorrow in me. My father's miracles inspired me deeply with a lot of faith in God. And now David was telling me of the miracles he experienced with Sai Baba. And not only that, but the Sai Baba was speaking with him. So ever since I had met David, I too was praying to Sai Baba. "Sai Baba, please, Sai Baba, can't you speak with me as you do with David? What's wrong with me, Sai Baba?" Well, that was what the miracle under the bamboo tree was all about. Sai Baba speaking with me. There was nothing wrong with me. What it took was a crisis in my life, so intense that it drove me to my knees, forgetting my pride and ego in order to humble myself. It also took 6 days of emotional and dedicated prayer without giving up. How often does anyone you know spend this much time in prayer? This is the amount of devotion it took for me to be worthy of a miracle. 6 days of heartfelt prayer. In closing, Half Moon Bay Part 2 is the most adventurous and the most passionate of the entire book. When you finish reading this nearly unbelievable story, would you please go to halfmoonbayjamaica.net and let me know what this story meant to you? That would mean a lot to me. You have a wonderful day, and goodbye for now.